Welcome back in, everybody. It's the Bizman back to you with another video. This one is going to be made for my side hustle guys at home. So I wanted to go ahead and make a video that kind of applies to you guys specifically. Now, does trucking sometimes carry over? Yes, but I will always make a distinction between when I'm talking about truck driving versus when I'm talking Lyft, Uber, Spark, those types of side hustles. So on this one, guys, I just kind of want to bring in one of the similarities that you should do. And of course, as always, not legal advice, not financial advice, but what has worked for me in the past. Yesterday I made a video that was talking about how important it was to go ahead and track expenses, how much you earn, all those kinds of things. And if anything, it's even more important that you guys do it, because the profit margin per load, or in your guys' case, delivery, ride, anything like that, it's smaller. So therefore, when a mistake is made or something that it impacts you negatively, you have a lot less of a margin to kind of correct the mistake. So it's very important that you recognize an issue and address it immediately. Yesterday I kind of talked about how I was making a trucking website where they can track expenses, and it'll do a profit and loss report, all those kinds of things. It's not quite done yet, but for you guys you doing the side hustles, I also, on the same site, have that being developed so that you're able to go ahead and track your expenses. And something that kind of applies a little bit more to your industry, in opposed to, like, logistics is logistics, but the likelihood of you guys having things like lumper fees where you're paying somebody to unload your stuff, it's unlikely, right? So not everything carries over, and my goal is to make different logins for people. If you're in trucking, then you have access to more so of the trucking side of things. If you do Lyft, Uber, all that kind of stuff, then your stuff applies to you directly. If you do both, like I used to do, then, have access to both, right? At any rate, going back to what applies to you, it's important to track, of course, how much fuel you're using, how much profit you're making. But then it's also important to make sure that you're saving money for things like taxes, oil changes, maintenance. The one thing that really carries over is both truckers and, side hustling. You should definitely have a maintenance fund built up. And that's something that I'm going to go ahead and touch base more on. Now, for me personally, I always set myself a limit of how much I wanted to go ahead and make per day. When I was doing both of them, it was much less. Then I just wanted to do something like, when I was home, I would take 2 weeks off at a time, and then I would, go out while my wife was working, and then I would do Uber and Lyft, and then, so my goal at that point was more like 150 a day. And then once I kind of got a full-time job outside of the truck, at that point it was working on the weekends, and it was making like $400 a day, but that's because I was working on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, did I always hit that? No, but at the time there was some restrictions that that wasn't there, such as now they have how many hours you can work, and they have something close to an hours of service clock. It's not quite exactly the same, but it's pretty close. to like budget that type of money, those are the types of things that I'm working on, to be able to show, hey, this is how much I made, this is how much I need to save, this is how much should go into my maintenance fund, and this is how much I have to spend at the end of the day. A lot of drivers get themselves in a lot of trouble because they make a couple of $100 and they spend a couple of $100. And the problem with that is you should be doing oil changes regularly, and you will have things like brakes, anything wear and tear, like clockwork. Now, here's another little pro tip: if you're not a mechanic, figure it out. There's plenty of YouTube videos, things like that. If you go to Breakmasters, or I guess let's not name drop. If you go to any type of mechanic, not just Breakmasters, but any place, right? They're going to charge you not only the parts, they're going to charge you the labor. And here's a fun little fact about the parts. They make a markup traditionally on the parts that you go ahead and buy from them. So what I would do is I would go to an auto parts store, purchase the auto parts there, because the markup is typically a lot less. You can even find some stuff on Amazon, purchase it, and then put it in yourself. Now, time is definitely a factor. You gotta kind of calculate that in. But for me, for example, if I were to go ahead and do my brakes, that was going to cost me about $1,200 when you include brakes, rotors, hourly rate, all that kind of good stuff. I was able to do my own brakes, everything. I bought my parts through 1A Auto, and I got my rotors, my brakes, some shop supplies. I drained out the brake fluid and put more in, and I was able to be out the door for we'll say $500, but it was a little bit less than that. So that was like a big savings. Now, I also did stuff like I purchased the stuff on a sale, which was Black Friday. I was able to go ahead and do that, but the point is I was able to, at minimum, save about $1,500. If I didn't buy it on a sale, it would have been probably closer to 7 or 8, which is still over $1,000 savings. Those are the types of things where if you're going to make side hustling your primary bread and butter, you need to learn those types of things. I get it, mechanic work isn't for everybody. There's specializations. If you guys don't know how to do something, like don't experiment with your own car. In fact, another video, we're going to go ahead and discuss, there's a pretty hot topic out there between if you should do the Uber car rental or not, right? Because they're pretty expensive. But there are some factors that we need to consider, like not having to do maintenance. That's a biggie. And if you're a person that doesn't want to learn, doesn't care to, you just want somebody else to take care of the maintenance, without going too much into it, that may be for you. Also, too, if you don't want the wear and tear on your car, that may be for you. But different video, different topic. Sticking to this one, really it's important to go ahead and track the expenses. So on the ramls.us, once that launches, of course I'll have a free version, same as trucking, where you're able to go ahead and kind of do that budget and be able to figure out this is what I'm truly making at the end of the day. This is how much should go in my bank account that I have access to spending. So yeah, that is it for right now, guys. Just wanted to make a quick video. I know that this one wasn't really going into any one specific thing. Those videos are coming up, but I just wanted to go ahead and kind of introduce myself to that community. community as well. So, guys, if anything, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. I really want to hit the algorithm, not just so that it's for my own selfish benefit, but I really want to reach more people because I feel like these are things that it's hard to figure out somebody who's giving useful information, at least that applies to each specific individual, especially when you comment, email me, anything like that. I am a person that always likes to help, and so if you guys would like to reach out, I'm happy to go ahead and answer. But until then, you take care, and I'll check in with you next time.